Hey guys, what's up? My name is Adam Ronin, and you were watching a video that is kind of going through more of my studio process on how I create some music. And today, specifically, I want to talk about a song that I just released last week that is coming out on my upcoming Welcome to Fright Night EP that is dropping on October 30th, later this week, called Dies Irae. So I came out with that, and there's actually a lot of interesting significance and history behind the theme of Dies Irae that goes all the way back to about 800 years to currently using all kinds of film, and I want to talk a little bit about that, a little bit of a history lesson, and then we'll break down how I took that and made it my own for my own song by sampling some stuff and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So let's get started. So, for about 800 years, since the 13th century, the Gregorian chant of Dies Irae was used by the Catholic Church for Mass and for one thing, and it was synonymous with death because they used it for funerals. This Gregorian chant that was used at funerals, you've probably heard it several times. Of course, I know you have, because we're going to get into how it ties into film, but it was, it started out, it was like, Dies Irae, Dies Illa. So it was just like, you've heard that before, and it was used for funerals by the Catholic Church. Dies Irae, Dies Illa, salve seculum in famiglia. Dies Irae translates to Day of Wrath. So this is what the Catholics believed, that God would judge the dead and the living, and at this point he would then decide if they were to spend their eternity in heaven or hell. This was what was sang for years at different funeral masses. However, over the next several hundred years, Dies Irae started spreading all across the world, outside of the Catholic Church, in different creative uses in different places. And actually it wasn't until 1830 that a French composer, whose name I'm about to butcher, no doubt, but his name was Louis Hector Berlioz, and he wrote his own version, which was the Symphonie Fantastique. What he did was he extracted the melody of Dies Irae, Dies Irae, and just took out the words and just used the melody. Bum 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 bum. I know you've heard that, though it would be subconsciously, because you've actually heard it hundreds if not thousands of times. Then this went on over the years, various composers definitely taking it for their own different works and different kinds of things, various symphonies, various pieces of orchestrated works that use this very same note pattern. Very synonymous with dread and death, and just like just gives you that feeling of, I guess dread is like the best word for it. Then of course over the years the advent of the film industry happened, and of course with film you have film scores and composers that work with that, and they took the bum 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 and ran with it. It is rampant all through films throughout history, and it is generally synonymous in films with in moments of dread and with death and passing and things like that. And here's some examples.
Following the piping.
However, it wasn't until 1980 when its most notable use was created. Wendy Carlos and Rachel Elkind, who did the composition and the film score for The Shining, they went back and took Symphonie Fantastique that was done by the French composer Louis Hector Berlioz, and they took his rendition of Dies Irae, which translated into the score of The Shining, which you all know, and today And I took that, sampled it right from the film, and created my own song out of it. And I'm about to show you how I did that. Okay, so I've got my session open here, and you know, it looks like a Logic Pro X, which is my primary DAW of choice. And let's kind of start out. So essentially what I did is I brought in the Shining extracted, sampled from the film. I brought it into the Q sampler, so we have it here. And that's what I use for the intro, because like the intro plays out, if you've heard the song, which if you haven't, you should click the link, you know, and go watch the video, because the song will be out this Friday. But I essentially just brought that in and just played that, kind of have that like that VHS opening with like you putting in the tape, kind of like you would feel from the 80s, putting in the VHS, pressing play, and then the movie starts of The Shining. So I've got this loaded in just now as it is, and it is, you know, there's nothing special about it. But the most important thing is I then took it in to a new track. So I've got the Shining chopped, and I chopped the ever-living fuck out of it. So if we open up Q Sampler again, you can see I've manually put in different points here where I have chopped it and set them up for different notes. So this actually starts at C1. So if I was to play on my keyboard here, it plays the first part. So the whole thing is kind of set up over the all the way up to G2, and I've got it spliced up so I could play. And then of course I've got some effects on it. I've got some Filthy Strings preset from the Fat from Native Instruments. I have a bit crusher on it just to give it a little bit of character, and then I've got a little bit of reverb from Silververb that was built into Logic Pro X. So that's what I'm working with effects wise. And then first part of the song, I don't have it. The first part of the song is just this. Just a beat and some drums that are just very cinematic. It wasn't until we hit the first kind of transition that go into the second verse that I really brought in what I started working with. Now what's happening there is, as we're transitioning, I'm hammering on the G to just give it like a... And then when we drop into it, I've chopped it up into and made my own melody out of it. And I have that looping for pretty much most of the song. So just when it's soloed out, it does this little transition and then drops right into it. And then what it sounds like with the rest of the drums and the strings that I wrote and everything going along behind it, we have... And that pretty much just loops the rest of the song. It's kind of a short song. The rest of it is, you know, synth and strings and drums that I wrote just around, but the riff of the chopped up DS E-Ray. So what I liked about it is the juxtaposition of the meaning of the song. Day of Wrath was always synonymous with death and funerals, and I really like doing like opposite type things. So like for the previous song that I did, the Black and Orange, I liked taking horror movies and stuff that's like so violent and visceral and writing like a happy Halloween anthem. This, which is 800-year-old Gregorian chant that was used at funerals, signifying death, all throughout film history, just dark and macabre and sad. I wanted to turn into almost like a love song, but like a really dark, end of the world, you and me forever will die together type of love song. And that's how DSE Ray was made, and that's that's the song. So anyway, guys, I thought you would enjoy just a really quick look at how I made this song. If you haven't pressed subscribe, well, you better do that, or else someone's going to be singing this chant at your funeral, and you don't want that, because you don't want to die anytime soon. Well, pressing subscribe, pressing the bell, and making sure you thumbs up this video will prevent your death, and you'll live a whole long, happy life. Anyways, my name's Adam Ronin. These are the socials that you can get at me on if you want to see what my stupid life is like and hear about more things. And yes, the album that this song is from, Welcome to Fright Night, drops this Friday, October 30th. Happy Halloween, and more importantly, happy Horror-tober. And I will see you in the next video.